Lee coming to you live, and I want to chat about two things that we experience in the same high energy. And when I'm talking about frequencies, I'm purely talking high intense energy. And there's two things that we can experience in the same manner that give a completely different experience. And these two things are anxiety and excitement. They're both really high energy, really intense energy. But how we experience them, how we use and utilize this energy is very, very different. So if we look at anxiety, when we feel anxious, we come from a place of lack of fear. We're not coming from a place of safety, of groundedness. The energy shoots up us, but it also shoots down. And when we get this up and down energy within us, it's really disruptive. So what can happen there is that we try to contain it or we try to squash it down. And what we do there is that we contain our energy. We actually shrink our energy. But we're still feeling it. And let me tell you, others around us can feel it. And as we shrink our energy or our aura to contain it, energy is barbing out, its jagged energy. And that's why when we feel anxious people around us or even anxiety within ourselves, it's uncomfortable. It creates discomfort. Unease is what it creates when we're around it and when we're in it for ourselves. So it's the same high energy, but it changes our thought patterns. It changes our emotions. And it triggers different emotions, experiences that we've laid in our body from the past. That's a big thing about anxiety. But let's look at excitement. Excitement is the same high energy, except we want to pop it out. If you think of the analogy, a champagne bottle. And as we pop the cork, all the air, the gas comes out. And if you're not great at popping champagne, it'll spew out. A lot of the champagne will come flowing out. That's what excitement's all about. We can't contain it. We don't want to contain it. We want to explode it out of ourselves. Excitement is intense happiness. There's motivation, there's hope, there's momentum, there's connection, because when we're excited, it's contagious. We want everybody else around us to be excited, to feel what we're feeling. And so that's where the connection comes in. And that's where it's very different from anxiety. Anxiety isolates us. We disconnect from everyone else. And to squish this feeling down, these sensations of anxiety, we have to disconnect from ourselves. And that's where we start to go down the rabbit hole. We'll begin to spiral down. And anxiety is part of life. But letting anxiety tip over the edge is not a good thing. And I want you to understand something. Whether it's excitement or anxiety, let's work out with excitement first. You've been around people that get excited easily. It's quite cute, it's quite funny, and it's contagious. But if they don't know how to manage their excitement and they're continuously popping it out, even though it's fun, it's exciting, excitement, it's also exhausting. It's exhausting to be around someone that's continuously excitable but doesn't know how to utilize this energy. So it's just popping off here and there. And when we're excited, I'm going to let you know we're not grounded. We are not in our body because we want to jump for joy and we want to shout it out to the rest of the world what's going on, what we're feeling, and especially what we're excited about. It kickstarts the same chemicals in the body, excitement and anxiety. But all it does is where our thoughts begin to lead towards excitement or towards anxiety. It's the same initial feeling in the beginning. And then where do our feelings go? Do they go and lean towards excitable emotion sensations, or they move towards anxious emotions and sensations? And I want to tell you something. A lot of people don't like it when I say this. Anxiety is a habit. It's an ingrained habit that we've practiced over and over and over that becomes automatic pilot to deal with life. And if you want to shift or break that pattern, you have to practice getting into a different state until that different state becomes a natural state for you. Practice, practice, practice. But back to anxiety and excitement. If you can see someone that is excitable all the time, most of the day, every day. I don't know many of these people. For me, I know people that excitement comes in bursts. We're not talking about positivity. It's very different. I'm talking about pure excitement. It is exhausting to stay in that excited state for such a long, long time, every single day. It is exhausting. It'll be hard to hold that state as well because it's such high, intense energy. So let's swing it round to anxiety now. How many of us hold that state? How many of us stay in that running, high, intense energy? This is how we lose time. This is how we lose productivity. I couldn't even say that word, sorry. This is what costs us money because we have to repeat tasks. We're not clear in following through step by step what needs to be done. So what happens here is, instead of looking at the symptoms, oh, I'm anxious, this could be happening, that could be happening, or I'm too excited, because we all know sometimes we need to calm our excitement down, especially around certain people that aren't feeling as excited, because it's nice to be aware of other people as well. So what we need to do is we need to practice coming to a neutral position. And that neutral position is the baseline, but isn't falling low. What I call it is the baseline, the centered line, the line where we feel neutral. It's not a high vibration, it's not a low vibration. It is just a neutral vibration. And I call this the centered or baseline. So when you're anxious, most people try to get up to feeling happy again and getting out of the state. It's very hard to do that. I'm not encouraging that. What I encourage is to find that baseline, that centered line where you're neutral. It's like when you have a good sleep, or you're falling to sleep, you're nice and calm, nice and relaxed, you're neutral. That's the neutral state I'm talking about. If you're feeling down, instead of working up, up, up to get to happiness, it's a hard task. I'm asking you to get to that baseline, that centered line, or as Vicky likes to call it, that Switzerland space. We all know Switzerland. So whether you're too high in your energy, you come back to that baseline. Whether you're too low in your energy, you come back to that baseline. And that's how you start retraining your states, especially for anxiety. But you have to practice it consciously throughout the day in moments. Because what will happen is those moments will become more frequent. Those moments will start to get longer and longer. And that's what practicing a state of being is about. Because we practice being in a state of what we desire, what we know is good for us. And then we have to strengthen and anchor ourselves in that state until we can hold it. And hold it throughout the day. Hold it throughout the evening. And then it becomes our norm. So as I said, do it in increments. Practice this through moments throughout the day. And those moments could be 5, 20 seconds. And then you can expand on it. It becomes 1 to 3 minutes. You might even just try practice holding it throughout the day and checking in, am I still holding it? Because the anchor is the most important thing when we know a pattern, a shift has happened. And that's what I want to suggest for you guys. Whether it's excitement or whether it's anxiety, you've got to come down. And when we come down and when we drop down, we can get really deflated with either end. And I don't want you to be deflated. I don't want you to reach high for happiness in this moment. I want you to go to that base-centered line of neutrality, or the Switzerland space. And this is where we can rest. This is where we can reset. This is where we can breathe. And in this baseline neutral space is where we can meditate into. We can get lots and lots of information. Our intuition is active. Our mind is much calmer, still. And this is why I'm asking you to practice your baseline state, your centered state. So whether you have high anxiety, as in the high intense energy, or excitement, it's not sustainable. So gently bring yourselves down to that centered baseline and just practice it throughout the day. If you can practice it regularly, you'll just organically start expanding on it when you practice it. And the more you can expand on it, the bigger the anchor. And when I say an anchor, again, I can hear my cat outside asking to come in. I'm telling him to wait ever so patiently. And to anchor it means that it is attached to you and you are attached to it. Just like anxiety is a habit, we're attached to that habit. And it's us that needs to release that habit. And then we need to attach to a positive habit. But you just do it in increments throughout the day. Remember, small changes throughout the day create consistent change. And it's these small ones that are like compound interest in the bank. They just keep going up, 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 increasing in the direction that we're wanting. So remember, anxiety and excitement use the same high intense energy. One comes from lack of, one comes from fear. The other comes from inspiration, hope, and motivation. So when you feel that sensation of butterflies moving up and down your body, I want you to choose, if you can go into excitement. It's just retraining your thoughts, retraining the emotions and feelings that you activate in this process, and then gently bringing it down to your centered baseline. If you can do that, you've already started your process of stepping away from your habit of anxiety and stepping into a calmer state. So have a great day, guys, and practice away.